Welcome, traveler, to Power in Words. If you are here, it is because you are seeking something. You are listening for a frequency that resonates with your own soul, a voice that echoes the quiet, persistent questions that bloom in the late hours of the night. This is not just a channel, it is a sanctuary, a quiet room in the bustling metropolis of your life, a place where we gather to find the courage to turn inward. We are here to share the energy, the light, and the profound strength that lies dormant in the very language we use, language that can build worlds or tear them down. Today, we stand before a key offered to us over 2 millennia ago by a mind that still shapes our world. It is a simple sentence, yet it holds the blueprint to liberation. Aristotle's quiet assertion, happiness depends upon ourselves. We feel almost immediately a resistance to this idea. A voice inside us protests, listing the evidence of our external lives. How can happiness depend on us when the world is so loud, so demanding, so often painful? How can it depend on us when our hearts are broken by another, when our stability is shaken by a changing economy, when our health is a fragile vessel navigating unpredictable seas? We are conditioned to be seekers, to believe that happiness is a destination we must arrive at. We envision it as a sunlit clearing at the end of a dark, thorny forest. We tell ourselves, I will be happy when I get the promotion, when I find the perfect partner, when I buy the house, when I am finally seen, validated, and approved of. We have become experts at outsourcing our own joy, placing the keys to our fulfillment in the pockets of strangers, in the hands of circumstance, and on the pedestals of acquisition. And so we chase. We run breathless toward horizons that constantly recede, collecting things, accolades, and relationships, hoping that the next one will be the one that finally fills the void. But the void, as we learn time and time again, is not an external emptiness. It is an internal space waiting to be claimed. This is the profound psychological truth at the heart of Aristotle's wisdom. He was not speaking of happiness as we often define it, that fleeting, fragile euphoria, the giddy rush of pleasure, that is hedonia, the sensation of a good meal or a sudden victory. It is wonderful, but it is temporary. It is the crest of a wave, beautiful and powerful, but destined to crash. Aristotle was speaking of something far deeper, more resilient, and more enduring. He spoke of eudaimonia. This word, often translated as happiness, means something closer to human flourishing or a life lived well. It is not the crest of the wave. It is the deep, steady current of the ocean itself. It is the profound, abiding sense of fulfillment that comes not from what we get, but from who we become. Happiness depends upon ourselves is therefore not a dismissal of our pain, but the ultimate empowerment against it. It is the recognition that while we cannot control the weather of our lives, the storms will come, the droughts will parch, we are the gardener. We have dominion over the soil of our own mind. We can choose which seeds to plant, which thoughts to water, and which weeds of resentment or fear to pull. Imagine a woman, let us call her Alara. For years, she built her life as if it were a fortress designed to impress others. She climbed the corporate ladder, her days filled with meetings and metrics. Her apartment was immaculate. Her achievements were many. But her nights were filled with a quiet, hollow ache. She had everything society told her would bring happiness, yet she felt profoundly empty. She was a stranger to herself, her own internal landscape barren because she had spent all her time decorating the exterior walls. One day, overwhelmed, she left it all. She began to volunteer at a small community library, teaching children to read. The pay was nothing, the prestige gone. But as she sat on the floor, guiding a small hand across a page, watching a child's eyes light up as symbols turned into a story, she felt a warmth spread through her chest, a deep, resonant hum. It was not the loud crash of victory. It was the quiet, solid click of a key turning in a lock. She wasn't getting anything. She was giving. She was engaging in virtue. She was, in that moment, creating her own eudaimonia. This is the internal architecture. We are the architects of our own experience. The 20th century psychiatrist Viktor Frankl, surviving the unimaginable horrors of the concentration camps, crystallized this very idea. He observed that those who survived, those who maintained their sanity, were not always the physically strongest, but those who clung to an internal purpose. They realized in the most extreme circumstances that everything can be taken from a person, but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. This is the power Aristotle spoke of. It is the understanding that life is not defined by the 10% of what happens to us, but by the 90% of how we respond. How then do we begin this profound construction? We begin by changing our focus from the external product to the internal process. We stop asking, what can I get? And start asking, who can I be? Happiness is not the goal, it is the byproduct. It is the natural consequence of a life lived with meaning, intention, and virtue. When you act with courage, even when you are terrified, when you choose compassion, even when it is easier to judge, when you pursue mastery in your craft, not for the applause, but for the simple integrity of the work itself, you are forging happiness. You are not finding it, you are making it, piece by piece, with every conscious choice. Think of yourself as a sculptor. Your life is the block of marble. The world will constantly hand you tools you did not ask for, a chisel of loss, a hammer of criticism, a sandpaper of daily frustration. You cannot control the tools you are given or even the flaws in the marble. But you and only you hold the vision. You decide where to strike, where to smooth, where to leave the raw stone exposed. Will you carve a monument to your grievances, a statue of your victimhood? Or will you carve a testament to your resilience, a shape that reveals the beauty you chose to find within the limitations? The pain is inevitable. The suffering is optional. The suffering comes from the story we tell ourselves about the pain. By claiming authorship of that story, we reclaim our happiness. This journey inward is not one of toxic positivity. It is not about pretending the darkness does not exist. It is the exact opposite. It is about having the courage to face the darkness both in the world and within ourselves, and choosing to light a candle rather than curse the shadows. It is about the profound act of self-integration. It is the lonely, difficult, and beautiful work of building a foundation so strong within yourself that when the storms of life hit, and they will hit, you may bend, you may tremble, but you will not break. You will know that your shelter is not in the approval of others, not in your bank account, and not in your circumstances. Your shelter is the integrity of your own character. We look for happiness in the fleeting validation of a like on a screen, in the temporary solace of a purchase, in the reflection of ourselves in someone else's eyes. We are like travelers dying of thirst, digging frantically in the cracked desert sand for water, all while carrying a full canteen on our own back. Aristotle simply points to the canteen. He whispers across the centuries, "It is there. It has been with you all along. Stop digging in the sand. Open what you already possess. Your capacity for wisdom, your ability to choose your response, your power to find meaning, your potential for courage and kindness. This is the water. This is the great unlocking. When you truly absorb this, the world changes. You are no longer a passive leaf blown about by the winds of fate. You are the tree, rooted deep in your own being, drawing strength from your own core. You find that happiness is not in the sunshine, but in the resilience of your roots during the storm. It is in the quiet dignity of knowing that no matter what happens outside, you are in command of the citadel inside. You are the source of your own flourishing. We hope these words have found a home in you. If this message resonated, if you feel that quiet click of recognition, please like this video and subscribe to Power in Words. Let us continue to walk this path together, discovering the strength we hold within.